Dear students, thank you for tuning in. This lesson is for English 817 for technical and vocational education. Grade 12, first semester. Unit 1, Education and Learning. Before you begin, have a piece of paper and a pen. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to 1. Identify new vocabulary. 2. Locate information in a text. Introduction. Ask yourself these questions. What is your favorite and least favorite subject at school? 2. When do you find it best to study and why? Think about it. Let's see possible answers. My favorite subject is math, and the least favorite subject is chemistry. I prefer to study in the early morning, especially when I have a test or an exam, because I feel more relaxed at this time and the place is quiet. Well done. What kind of learner are you? Answer these questions and find out what your style in learning is. 1. You learn better by reading, listening to lecturers. In a lecture, you prefer to take notes during the lecture, record the lecture, and listen later. For memorizing a poem, you prefer to write it several times, repeat it several times orally. When the teacher introduces a new word, do you prefer it written on the board, prefer that the teacher just announces it clearly? Now choose your best options. All right, let's check. Results. If you scored mostly A's, the visual learning style means that people need to see information to learn it. And this seeing takes many forms, from spatial awareness, photographic memory, color, tone, brightness, contrast, and other visual information. Naturally, a classroom is a very good place for a visual learner to learn. Teachers use overheads, the smart board, pictures, graphs, maps, and many other visual items to entice a visual learner into knowledge. If you scored mostly B's, auditory learners generally remember what their teacher says and readily participate in class. They are good listeners and often very social, which means they can sometimes get distracted from the lesson by everything else going on in the classroom. Auditory learning methods range from studying with voice recordings to memorizing vocabulary words by inventing short songs. If your score is mixture of A's and B's, you probably learn through a mixture of visual and auditory styles. You sometimes prefer to study by reading. Other times you prefer to study by listening, depending on the tasks. Read this text carefully, then answer the questions. 3. Highly effective study habits. If you want better grades, you need more effective study habits. The key to effective studying isn't cramming or studying longer, but studying smarter. You can begin studying smarter with these 3 proven and effective study habits. 1. How you approach studying matters. Too many people look at studying as a necessary task, not an enjoyment or opportunity to learn. That's fine, but researchers have found that how you approach something matters almost as much as what you do. Being in the right mindset is important in order to study smarter. Sometimes you can't force yourself to be in the right mindset, and it is during such times you should simply avoid studying. If you're distracted by some issues, an upcoming game, or finishing an important project, then studying is just going to be an exercise in frustration. Come back to it when you're not focused or obsessed by something else going on in your life. One way to help improve your study mindset is to think positively when you study and remind yourself of your skills and abilities. Another thing is that you should avoid comparing yourself with others because you usually just end up feeling bad about yourself. Your skills and abilities are unique to you and you alone. 2. Where you study is important. A lot of people make the mistake of studying in a place that really isn't conducive to concentrating. A place with a lot of distractions makes for a poor study area. If you try and study in your dorm room, for instance, you may find the computer, TV, or a roommate more interesting than the reading material you're trying to digest. The library, a nook in a student lounge or study hall, or a quiet coffee house are good places to check out. Make sure to choose the quiet areas in these places, not the loud, central gathering areas. Investigate multiple places on campus and off campus. Don't just pick the first one you find as good enough for your needs and habits. Finding an ideal study place is important because it's one you can reliably count on for the next few years. 3. Outline and rewrite your notes. Most people find that keeping to a standard outline format helps them boil information down to its most basic components. People find that connecting similar concepts together makes it easier to remember when the exam comes around. The important thing to remember in writing outlines is that an outline only used as a learning tool when it is in your own words and structure. Every person is unique, is how they put similar information together, called chunking, by cognitive psychologists. So while you're welcome to copy other people's notes or outlines, make sure you translate those notes and outlines into your own words. Failing to do this is what often causes many students to stumble in remembering important items. It may also be helpful to use as many senses as possible when studying because information is retained more readily in people when other senses are involved. That's why writing notes works in the first place. It puts information into words and terms you understand. Mouthing the words out loud while you copy the notes before an important exam can be one method for involving yet another sense. Now answer these questions after reading the text. 1. How can you improve your study mindset? 2. According to the text, how can you avoid distractors of learning? 3. It is helpful to use as many senses as possible when studying. Explain why and give examples. You have 5 minutes. Model answer. 1. How can you improve your study mindset? Think positively when you study and remind yourself of your skills and abilities. Another thing is that you should avoid comparing yourself with others because you usually just end up feeling bad about yourself. Your skills and abilities are unique to you and you alone. 2. According to the text, how can you avoid distractors of learning? Try to find quiet places like the library, a nook in a student lounge or study hall, or a quiet coffee house are good places to check out. Make sure to choose the quiet areas in these places, not the loud, central gathering areas. Investigate multiple places on campus and off campus. Don't just pick the first one you find as good enough for your needs and habits. It is helpful to use as many senses as possible when studying. Explain why and give examples. Information is retained more readily in people when other senses are involved. That's why writing notes works in the first place. It puts information into words and terms you understand. Mouthing the words out loud while you copy the notes before an important exam can be one method for involving yet another sense. Assessment. What other effective study habits do you already have? Have a quick minute. Suggested answers. 1. Get organized by making a plan for what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. 2. Focus on one task. 3. Sleep well, as getting a good night's rest will sharpen your focus and improve your working memory. 4. Set a schedule and stick to it. 5. Take notes, and this will not only keep you more engaged during class, but will also help you narrow down what you need to study for exams. 6. Ask questions as you're in school to learn, so don't be afraid or hesitate to ask. New vocabulary. Match these words to their correct definitions. 1. Cram. 2. Stumble. 3. Obsessed. 4. Concern. 5. Distraction. Have a quick minute. Okay, now let's check the answers. Cram means E, to study for an examination by memorizing facts at the last minute or study hastily for an impending examination. 2. Stumble, to make a mistake or be incorrect. 3. Obsessed, having or showing excessive or compulsive concern with something. 4. Concern, an abstract idea. Distraction, something that makes it difficult to pay attention or that draws attention away from. Assessment, fill in the gaps with suitable words. There is an extra word: cramming, stumble, obsessed, concern, distraction. 1. He is with detective novels. She, in remembering events. 3. I was annoyed by of having so many roommates. 4. He was up all night for the history midterm. Now you have 2 minutes. Let's check the answers now. Obsessed. 2. Stumbles. 3. Distraction. 4. Cramming. Well done. This is the end of the lesson. Thank you for your attention.